the Sports Renegades podcast on SportstownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportstownChicago.com as the Snow Patrol take us to our final segment.
That's a nice intro for the final segment.
Right, as we talk about the Bulls and the NBA. And yes, there's obviously a whole lot of news going on as the Bulls had to fight to win in overtime to the 76ers, but that's a team you have to beat. And I know a lot of people were mad that Pau Gasol played as many minutes as he did, but I mean, you sort of have to beat the 76ers.
Yeah, if he didn't play those minutes, they probably would have lost to Philadelphia.
Right, and if Aaron Brooks didn't make that wild three, they would have lost too. And that seems to be the tale of the Bulls for the last few seasons. I mean, they do have exciting games, and there's always like new people performing. Etuan Moore,
and then they drop goose eggs, and it's just like, where did this performance come from?
Yeah, San Antonio, and they lost at Indiana, but they got to 40 wins.
Yeah, they've been clobbered by Sacramento.
I think if they win one more, if they win Friday at Charlotte, then they'll have the worst they can do is finish 500. So 41-41. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's possible that they could certainly get to 50 wins, and if you get to 50 wins, you'd be top 3, top 4. Hopefully, I think right now they're at third. I think in the conference right now.
I wonder what the official date was when the Knicks were officially eliminated from playoff contention. I wonder if that already happened.
Yeah, I'm sure it already happened. I think for Minnesota and New York and maybe Utah, Sacramento.
At least like teams like Minnesota and Sacramento have a lot to look forward to.
They really do.
Where New York is just like.
New York is screwed.
Yeah,
if Melo's on his game, he can maybe carry the team to an 8th seed. But
except the rest of the team is so bad. Minnesota, you've got Andrew Wiggins, future superstar, and Sacramento, you've got George Karl as head coach. You got DeMarcus Cousins. Rudy Gay's been playing really well this year.
Yeah. He's still got. He's a veteran for sure, but
Ben McLemore,
he still got it.
Has been shooting really well when he was named the best shooter.
And I think since George Karl came, they've been
pretty good. Yeah,
they've been either 500 or over 500.
McLemore was the best shooter in the draft class that he came from, which was a weak one, except it was a solid pick for them.
Yeah, it certainly was. And looking at the Bulls, I'm assuming Cleveland will pass them up at some point. They're neck and neck right now for 2 and 3, but
you'd like to think that at some point they're going to pass them up, and then they're just going to go pull away and make sure that the Bulls have no way to come back.
The only thing that the Bulls need to worry about really is
making the playoffs.
Trying to they're going to make the playoffs. We know that, but. You have to make sure you're in that home court area, because I don't necessarily want the Bulls as a 4th seed, because 4 or 5, Milwaukee could be that 5th seed, and they're a team that's primed to upset somebody.
Right. I think the Bulls could handle Milwaukee, though. They've handled them pretty well.
They can handle Milwaukee. The issue is if Washington ends up playing them again in the first round. I know Washington's not nearly as good as they were, and the Bulls just beat them at the game we were at last Tuesday.
Yeah, we were at Taj Gibson bobblehead day. I think Washington's a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. They're a better
Washington.
Team
Washington will give the Bulls more trouble than Milwaukee would.
Yes, they will.
The whole point, though, is to prolong playing the Cavaliers until the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what the goal is. For the Bulls, have to try to play those first 2 rounds without having to face Cleveland, and then in the Eastern Conference Finals play Cleveland and see what happens. Go in 6 or 7 games for sure, but. It's the whole point is that, and then Atlanta, Atlanta's going to be the 1 seed pretty much, no doubt.
Yeah, they're a team that could be upset in the first round.
Well, I don't know about first round. I understand what you're saying because they're still weak. But if you're playing, Charlotte or Detroit or something in the first round, you're never going to lose that.
Well, the thing if they play a team like Detroit. Atlanta's a great shooting team. If they have if their shooters like Korver disappear in the playoffs, like how Korver did in the playoffs with the Bulls, Detroit will dominate the boards with Andre Drummond and Greg Monroe.
Yeah.
And don't forget, they've got I believe they got a franchise player, like maybe a Westbrook 2.0, and he won't be as good as Westbrook and Reggie Jackson.
Right. I mean, here's the thing, too.
They could beat Atlanta because they will dominate the boards.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to play Indiana. And I think Indiana is maybe... I think Detroit is out right now. I think Indiana's 7th, and Miami's 8th, and I think Charlotte's fighting to take over Miami. You don't want to play Indiana in that first round. Especially if they get Paul George back, because Paul George is supposed to be back at some point, possibly. So, if he's back either at the end of the regular season or the start of the playoffs, I mean, Indiana's been on a roll lately. They just beat the Bulls by 10 points.
That was a bad loss.
Yeah, it was a bad loss, but Indiana is a team I wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, no, I mean,
no matter who I am, even if I'm the Cavaliers, I would not want to play Indiana.
They're kind of in the same position that the Bulls were in 2 years ago when Rose missed the entire season with the torn ACL. Where
True.
They're a team that grinds out wins. They have a great coach that'll get them into the playoffs. They can win without their star player. They have good role players. Other guys can step up when needed. They absolutely will make the playoffs. I mean, that's just the kind of team, they're similar to the Bulls. I mean, they got a great coach and everything.
Yeah.
The only difference is that, unlike that year, the Bulls never got Derrick Rose back, and they probably will get Paul George back, although we don't know that for sure. Yeah,
we don't know that for sure, but I do know that it's going to be another exciting NBA playoffs. I love the NBA playoffs because, especially those 4-5 matchups and those 3-6 matchups, because it really is a toss-up between who wins those games. I mean, 5s win all the time over 4s. And 6s a lot of times give 3s a lot of trouble, which is concerning if the Bulls end up with a 3 seed and Indiana ends up with a 6 seed or something. Ooh, that's going to be a tough first round. That's going to be a tough first round matchup.
Year? Washington was a 6. I think they
it was
4
and 5. The Bulls were 4. Washington was 5.
Because I think that they were one game behind Toronto, or they were a tiebreaker.
They had to win the last game of the season, and Toronto had to lose it, and I think they both won. So that means Toronto still.
I think they had the same record, and I think I don't know. Is the NBA where the division winners are the top 3 seeds? No, it's not.
No, that's not. I think it used to be like that, though.
Yeah, hockey was like that, and now it's just the top 6 spots in each conference are the top 3 in each division.
And if you look at the Western Conference of the NBA, Portland really had a tough break, losing Wesley Matthews for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, it hurt my fantasy team too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it did. I feel bad because I really like the Portland Trailblazers.
Hey, at least that's why they traded for Aaron Aflalo. I don't think that they thought that would be.
They didn't think he would play as well as he's been playing. Man, he's been playing his lights out.
Right. Not only that, I don't think they. I mean, he was coming off the bench for them, and now it's looking like that. The smartest thing they did was making that trade.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and they're gonna have a good time with him as they at least got something to help them out, for sure.
Right, I know LaMarcus Aldridge has kind of slowed down a little bit with his shooting because he was shooting out of his mind at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And that obviously was going to stop, and it has, which he was still shooting very well even though he's got that torn thumb ligament.
Right, so that's definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. And then Oklahoma City, as we know, Russell Westbrook's been playing really well, but they're still fighting for an A seed. Kevin Durant is still a week or two away from coming back. Once he comes back, I'm not concerned. I think Oklahoma City will be able to grind out and be 7th or 8th, which could give. I don't think it'll give Golden State any trouble, but it could give whoever the second seed is if Oklahoma City ends up being number 7. That they could give them some trouble. San Antonio is only a couple games away. I think San Antonio is 6th or 7th right now. They're only a couple games away from being a 3rd seed, which is surprising because they had not had a good year halfway through, but they're starting to get it together now, and they're starting to play really well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They weren't going to come in first place every year when they've got dinosaurs on their team.
Right, and when you got a young team like you got some young teams.
Golden State and Portland. I mean, they couldn't be the best team in that league with dinosaurs on their team for 5 straight years, which, granted, they've been the top team in that conference for 4 or 5 straight years. They keep getting the number 1 seed. They made it to the finals in 2 straight seasons.
Yeah, they're
probably should.
They're going to be okay.
Could have won it. Had won back to back. They almost beat Miami the first year. Remember, it went to Game 7.
Yes, I remember. I was very upset because the Bulls weren't in there. But
yeah, that because the Bulls weren't in there, and then we're still sobbing that we didn't have Derrick Rose that season.
Of course.
Do you think he'll be back at the end of the season?
He claims he will, which means he probably will, but I don't think that's a good thing because
I don't know how many times has it been said Derrick Rose will return, and then it turns out he doesn't.
The worst, I mean, it was funny, but it was absolutely horrible, was when somebody asked him, like, the doctors gave you a timetable of 3 to 6 weeks, and then they asked, like, and then they said something else, and his first response was, who cares? He said, well, who cares? Well, you know what? Everyone cares, and you should care, and I know nobody knows your body like yourself, but I mean, geez, you have to listen to the doctors and come back when they clear you to come back.
Yeah, he was cleared for like 3 months with the ACL.
Yeah,
tear.
and then he didn't come back, and then he lost all of his ability, and then I don't want him to come back too soon either because. That would not be good if God forbid he gets injured again. I mean, geez, and he's not going to be the same player if he comes back too early.
Don't forget all the injuries that he had at the beginning of the year. Remember, it seemed like every game he played in, he was getting injured.
Yeah, he was playing like twice a week only. And, he
never
was barely playing
from like the start of the season until December. He never had started and finished 2 consecutive games.
Yeah, I think for this year. I mean, unless something happens to Golden State, they're going to go to the finals in the West. And unless something happens...
That'd be a fun series to watch if it's them in Portland in the Western Conference Finals.
That's what it'll probably be, and that'll be really exciting to see Steph Curry and Damian Lillard go at it. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Best 2-point guards in the game, pretty much. And then on the East, I mean, Atlanta could pull it together and possibly go there, but we're assuming it's Cleveland. Chicago, could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it'll be tough to beat Cleveland. That'll be really hard. I see Cleveland going to the finals and then losing to either to Golden State probably, which would be really exciting for Steve Kerr in his first year to get another ring.
He's done a phenomenal job.
Let's see. He started his career with Cleveland. I'm talking about as a basketball player. He started his career with Cleveland. He didn't win anything. He came to the Bulls. He won 3 with the Bulls, 2 with San Antonio. I think he won in 2000, or he won in 99 and 2003 with the Spurs, I believe. And then he became general manager of the Phoenix Suns. I think he left that position. Then he was a broadcaster. Now this is his first year of coaching, and he could win another ring. He could have
6
rings, just like Jordan. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to stop Golden State. I mean, they're just really good.
Yeah, they do look unstoppable, especially when if as long as they're not as long as they're shooting the ball well, it's going to be tough to beat them
for sure. All right, I played the wrong intro song to leave the show, as I figured that I would. But this has been Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. We broadcasted live from 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be on next week at the same time, 6 to 8 on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. Thanks for listening.
Have a good
great night.
Hey, hey, holy mackerel, no doubt about it, the Cubs are on their way. The Cubs are gonna hit today, they're gonna pitch today, they're gonna field today. Come what may, the Cubs are gonna win today. Hey, hey, holy mackerel, no doubt about it, the Cubs are on their way. They got the hustle, they got the muscle, the Chicago Cubs are on their way.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the pitch. Hey, Cubs win the division! Cubs win the division! Cubs win the division! Fitzgerald is out on strike. Look at that scene on the field. And underneath all that humanity is Mitch Williams.
2 outs, 9th inning. And the 1-1. Sammy drives one. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. I don't Sammy Sosa